Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to be doing the full moon, June full moon read for the sign of Virgo. Okay? Take a sip of iced tea and get right into it. We're going to get your animal spirit card out. From the Wild Unknown Animal Oracle deck. How you doing, Virgos? Alright, how's it going? How's summer treating you? We're almost there. Summer solstice coming up. First half of the year, so far so good. Let's see, what spirit animal is going to be walking with our Virgos over this full moon to full moon period. I'm talking about the next 28-day cycle. Show me what kind of energy is working with them, supporting them, helping them along the way. Show me. All right. Virgo. Octopus. Oh my goodness. This just came out for, let me see. I do keep a log of all my readings. This just came out for Aries for the full moon. All right. Aries. Same thing. Messy relationships. You got your tentacles everywhere. Water energy. Upside down triangle indicates the alchemical symbol for water. Octopus. You can't see. Most octopi are mostly blind. It's all about feelings, all tactile. It's very messy. You've been sticking your tentacles perhaps where they don't belong. Certainly, either in multiple relationships, which is messy in and of itself, or a relationship that is generally messy and has other people involved. The octopus comes along when you need to start to take care. You need to start to pull back, set some boundaries. A lot of times, 8s will show up in a reading when the octopus energy is there because it's about being more disciplined, right? It's about having a bit more discernment. So let's see what your cards are. Let's see what comes out here. Octopus, that's so funny. Some of you perhaps could be dealing with an Aries, right? But I doubt it, you know, just because the same animal came out. Virgo and Aries, I don't know about that, but Virgo. I don't know why it makes me giggle. I'm a Sagittarius, so a lot of things make me giggle. But, I don't know. Octopus energy is funny because it's like, you know, it's that kind of messy relationship energy that everybody can get into very easily. Alright, show me what's going on with our Virgos. With this octopus energy that's with them this full moon. Don't be jumpy on me now. I need a clear reading. Alright, I need a clear message. Let's get you cards in line. Focus. All right, show me affirmations, warnings, reaffirmations. What do we hope to expect? What is Virgo looking forward to? What should they be moving toward and away from? All right, give me a clear picture so I can give them a good interpretation of the month ahead. Something that will resonate with the Virgos tuning into this video. All right, I ask that you show me, please. Show me. I'm not the kind of reader that likes to have cards popping out all over the place. For me, it's a sign that my energy isn't focused. I spend a lot of time with my decks, getting to know my decks. Like I've said in one of my other videos, I generally won't use a deck unless if it's a new deck, unless it's something I've worked with for almost a year. So, when it comes to a reading, if a card pops out, completely out face up, then yes, I'll take it. But for the most part, when the cards are jumpy like that, I like to take some time to get them refocused, right? So that the message that comes out is clear. You know, I want as little of myself to be in the cards as possible. I'm only a conduit for a message. The message comes in, and I'm the conduit for interpreting the message. That's why it's imperative that I study everything I can about so many different fields of philosophy, certainly with the tarot, because to be able to interpret the messages that come through, you have to be able to understand everything that you're seeing, right? So for me, it's very important that the cards remain focused when they come out and deliberate. Interesting. We've got at the bottom of the deck, 3 of Pentacles, works. So, Virgo, 8 of Swords. 8 of Swords. Risky behavior. Victim card, 8 of Swords. It's my victim card. Oh no, help me, please help me, I'm about to fall. Really? Just pull yourself in the window, right? In the traditional Rider-Waite deck, 8 of Swords is the one where the figure is standing there bound and blindfolded, surrounded by swords that have been stabbed, impaled into the ground. It's a sense of isolating yourself. 8's being the number of boundaries, right? Limitations, weaknesses, and strengths. So 8 of Swords comes up for that type of energy when you play the victim. You pretend that you don't, you had no other recourse. I had no other choice. I had to do this. I had to act that way. I had to be a dick, This is gaslighting energy, by the way. Okay? For those of you who are dealing with someone who's quite toxic, this can be gaslighting energy. This can be that kind of like energy like, I wouldn't treat you like this if you wouldn't act the way you act. Right? If you weren't the way you were, you wouldn't make me so angry and make me act the way I'm acting or make me do the things that I'm doing. It's that kind of, putting the blame on everyone else around you but yourself. This is also the individual who holds on rigidly to their ideas and to their viewpoints. They're the one in the group who you can't have a conversation with. Everything you say, if you disagree with them, they're gonna argue with you, and if you agree with them, they're gonna find a way to disagree with you suddenly and find how, you know what I mean? It's just a constant effing battle. Nobody wants to be around this person. And then on the icing on the cake is they generally blame everybody else around them because they're alone. Oh, nobody likes me because I'm so strong. Nobody likes me because I have such strong opinions. People don't get close to me because they don't like to hear what I've got to say. No, people don't get close to you because you're a dick. It's that simple. You're impossible to talk to. You play the victim. You play, you don't take responsibility, right? So, Ace of Swords is at the center of this reading. Who is this? Is this you, Virgo? Is this someone you're dealing with? I'm not saying that you're as bad as all that. If this is you, I'm not saying that you're the one that nobody wants to talk to. But this is certainly a warning that you need to take responsibility for your actions. 7 of Pentacles is crossing. 7 of Pentacles talks about reevaluating your life and kind of like, has it been worth it? All of this that I've been doing, I've been tending to this tree for years, and now this is what I've gotten out of it. Is it worth it? It's cost me blood, sweat, and tears. It's reevaluating your dreams. So it can be very much that something is happening with you, right, where you're feeling quite like you're realizing that perhaps you have been kind of playing a bit of a victim role. You realize that you need to take more control over your life and take more responsibility for your actions. Stop allowing other people to dictate the way you act, right? The way how you conduct yourself or the choices that you make. You have to face the fact that you are in control of the choices that you make. Perhaps that's why your relationships have gotten quite messy, right? And so as part of this awakening, you're starting to realize that perhaps some of the goals that you've had in mind aren't really the goals that you wanted. You're waking up to a certain behavior pattern and realizing that, you know, some of my wishes have also been part of that kind of, that part of me, right? Maybe you've been working for status, or maybe you've been working towards a particular goal that your family wants or that somebody else wanted for you. And now you're realizing, you're waking up to the fact that, you know, you've really allowed your life to be dictated by others. Perhaps you've even allowed your dreams to be dictated by others. Are they really yours? Are they your dreams, or are they your parents' dreams, your lover's dreams, your friend? You know what I'm saying? Are they really yours? Is it really what you want? Or are you just trying to kind of satisfy someone else? The world, yeah, it's time. The world comes up when it's time. Things are happening, and you know, it's allowing you to gain perspective. The world card is all about perspective. Seeing where you really fit into all of this. Where does your plan and goal for your life fit into where you're at right now? Right? It's time to reevaluate this segment of life that you're living. I often say with the world card, it's like, you know, sometimes a lot of people have this kind of attitude. I live life, you know, to the fullest. I'm a very, you know, fun-loving, gregarious person. I don't, you know, I want to be excited. I don't want to know the end. You know, I'm a bohemian. I'm this, I'm that. You know, and the truth of the matter is they're not. They're still caught up in a lot of hang-ups. Right? A lot of times that's a way to hide. You have to take stock of your life. You can't just live life by the seat of your pants. It just, if you think that that's being free, it's not. At some point, certainly when the world card comes up in your subconscious, so this is something you've been thinking about for quite some time, it's time to like take stock. Look at where you've, you know, how far you've come up until now. You know, and I always say this, during the course of a lifetime, when you have a timeline, right? You have a timeline for your life. Let's be optimistic and say we're going to live 80 years, right? That's a good, healthy, long life. You know, God bless you if you make it to 90 or above, right? Say you have an 80-year lifespan, and you are right now stuck in this kind of holding pattern that's been going on for 5 years or 6 years or 8 years. In comparison to that lifespan, right? And when you look back at what you've accomplished so far, it can give you a lot of perspective. A lot of us choose to stay in situations because we feel that that's it. There's no more room for anything else, right, in my life. Or you're so fixated on a certain relationship or a certain kind of status or environment that you're in, maintaining that, right? Even though you may not be 100% happy, even though you may not have even seen a whole lot of other alternatives, so you really don't know much of a difference, but yet you doggedly persist in staying in that because you feel like that's the best you're ever going to have. How will you know? How would you know if that's the best you're ever going to have? Oftentimes we feel like this is the best lover we've ever had, and you ask a person, well, have you been in love before? They say no. Okay, so you mean this first and only love is, of course it's the best. It's the only one. But when you look at your life on a whole as a timeline, you start to realize how much you're missing. When you're fixated on something you've been in for 5 years, you're missing the other 75. Or let's say adult years, right? So you're missing the other 55. Are you truly willing to keep this what you're doing right now? Do you really want to do this for the next 55 years? Feel like this? Right? So when you look at your life like that, you can get a lot of perspective. And this is what you're going through, lover, 2 of Cups. Somebody's got you very excited. Somebody's got you want them alone to yourself. They may want you alone to themselves. Okay? Although you're having some messy relationships right now, there is someone who wants to get you off and alone and just talking eye to eye, one-on-one, without any interference, without anyone else being there. Quite interesting. We'll get some clarity on this. The Knight of Pentacles has come in, so an opportunity has come your way. It's been a long time coming. Okay, it's been a long time coming. It's just arrived. If it hasn't arrived yet, it's just about to arrive into your life. You need to pay attention to it. This could be an opportunity for you to do something that truly speaks to your heart rather than something you've kind of been, you know, trying to fulfill as somebody else's sort of, you know, pressure because of the pressure of someone else or your family. Like I said before, this opportunity is more in line with who you are and what you want to do with your life. It's taken a long time to come, but it's coming in. There's the devil. Okay. So the temptation is, there's a lot of temptation. There's a lot of creativity as well, though. Your creative center right now is quite high, and it's like it can so easily lead you down a road of temptation. Sometimes they go hand in hand, creativity, the feeling very creative, and then also living a very I want to say lustful, you know, indulging in passions of the flesh, of the five senses, indulging in the pleasures of the senses, right? Instead of in the pleasures of the spirit. They go hand in hand. A lot of times, you know, artists over the years, you know, artists, musicians, artists, painters, sculptors, when they're at their height of their creativity, many times they're also at the height of their debauchery, right? They have just so much creative energy that, you know, it's not enough. Sometimes, you know, it bursts forth in great works of art, but a lot of it also gets burned off in experiencing the senses, because their senses are so much heightened. Their five senses are so much more heightened. So feeding that is a sensation. That's the devil. That's tempting. That's when you're, you know, that's when the creative energy of that kundalini passion can very much go towards something creative, or it can very much be kind of blown off in the ether on just kind of enjoyment, right? Take care. Right, Virgo, you're feeling very, you know, feeling very sexy. You're really enjoying your sexiness. You're enjoying the messiness, though. It's quite funny. You're not really that bothered by it, I feel, you know. I feel like you're almost like, you know what? It could be very much that you're just like, let me just have this little moment to indulge, right? Let me just have a little moment to indulge, to let my hair down, to let me be free and carnal and passionate. You know, I've been living my life for so long because of other people. I just want to enjoy myself now. I feel that energy for you very much. Like, you know, you just feel as though it's been quite unfair. It could be that you have had, you know, to really live a life with a lot of responsibilities and a lot of, like, worrying about other people and living up to other people's expectations, certainly perhaps family or something like that. And something's come along or something's happened where you could be this Three of Pentacles, right? Three of Pentacles is when you start to gain a little notoriety for your work. It could be that you started to get some money coming in, Virgo. You started to get some accolades for your work, for whatever it is that you're skilled at. And this is now perhaps some pride and self-esteem that's coming in for something that purely you've done, that you're good at. It doesn't have to be diluted by feeling like it partially belongs to someone else. You know what I mean? I feel very much like maybe you've had one of those lives where somebody's always interfered with your life or what you've tried to do to such a degree that every time you did accomplish something, you never felt like you really accomplished it on your own. Or perhaps you doubted that you really accomplished it on your own. You know, could be one of those scenarios where you're like, you know, one of those families who, like, behind the scenes is always making doors open for you. That's an example of what I'm talking about. And then when you achieve something, you always feel like you've been robbed of that achievement, right? Well, most recently, I almost feel like you're getting some of these achievements coming in, but they're coming in pure. You know that they're coming in purely on your own steam. And this self-confidence, right, is kind of getting you to live this kind of very, like, you're taking risks, right? You're living a life that perhaps you always thought you couldn't before, right? You're making money on your own steam, right? So you don't feel like you're responsible to somebody else, or like you have to follow their rules or regulations or their standards for life anymore. And I feel like you're right now at the moment just letting your hair down, Virgo. You're just loving it. You're messy. So what? You know, I feel very much like that's your energy. You're just like, so, I'm messy and let me be messy. And you know what? Me being a Sagittarian, I'm like, yeah, go for it. Be messy for a little while. Everybody's allowed to be messy for a little while. Why not? As long as you hold on to a kernel of yourself, strength. As long as you maintain your core. You always have to maintain your core. You have to maintain who you really are at the very core. You can't sell yourself, you know, out or short or anything like that. You have to remain true to yourself and integral to yourself. You have to maintain integrity, even during the messy times, right? And that's the most important thing. And if you can do that through strength, if you can do that, you can come out of this feeling with a lot of accomplishment, really. Because certainly there's more opportunity coming in. Take care, though. You're going to definitely get to a stage where you're going to want more stability, all right? This is a temporary stage for you, I believe. Like I said, I think you're just burning off some steam. I think you're just kind of letting yourself indulge for a moment. You're enjoying yourself. You understand that this isn't going to be forever, all right? You will get bored. You're going to get bored of it, and you're going to want to seek stability in your relationships at some point, okay? And there's the Queen of Cups. So, once you get through this, like, period, and you've decided, all right, enough's enough, I'm done, now I'm ready to buckle down, your Queen of Cups comes out. It could be that perhaps you've been experimenting. Some of you may have been experimenting sexually, trying to find out where your sexual center is. You could be finding out, you know, what your sexual orientation is. It could be that you've been unsure. You haven't been exposed perhaps to certain things like that. Because certainly with the Queen of Cups, see the Queen coming in right in your future, it's like as if you've evolved to this state. Now you know who you are. You know what you want. You know what you desire. You know, so below as above. Everything is in alignment. But it seems to me that it took this kind of messiness, this debauchery, the sex, the multiple perhaps relationships or the messy relationships for you to find this Queen of Cups center inside of yourself. And so it's for that reason that I talk about perhaps you were experimenting with polyamory. You may have been experimenting with multiple partners, multiple gender partners, right? Trying to figure out who and what you desire and what you need for your own emotional fulfillment, and you come out of this with a better sense of yourself sexually and emotionally. There's the Empress. Beautiful. So not only do you come out with Queen of Cups, right, but you transmute everything you've gone through, and there you are, the Empress, the ultimate feminine, right, the divine feminine. Beautiful. Not only does she know who she is, she luxuriates in it. I have such a hard time saying that word. I feel like I have a speech impediment sometimes. It could be that English was not my first language, so that might be it. But she luxuriates, right? She enjoys her beauty, her garden. You know, she's only really at the whim of the emperor. The emperor is the only one who can tell her what to do. Other than that, she kind of lays back. She enjoys herself. She's the embodiment of just nurturing, you know, the ability to bring life forth at any time, you know, the absolute full capacity for creating new life. Beautiful. I do believe this is very much talking to either, this reading is definitely talking to feminine Scorpios, I want to say. So it doesn't really matter male or female, but you're certainly embodying the feminine kind of aspect to yourself in this reading. Because you ultimately end up as the Empress, right? So that talks about integrating the divine feminine within yourself, right? Doesn't really matter. It's not about gender. It's about energy. Feminine, masculine energy. The two are necessary, okay? You have to have both of them, and you have to understand both sides of them in yourself. We all have both sides. This is very much about developing and evolving your feminine side. The beauty, the vulnerability, the emotions, the being in touch with your emotions, the understanding where your sexual power lies, right? Your desires, all of that. Show me what's going on. We want to go a little bit deeper in this reading for our lovely Virgos who seem to be having a fucking ball right now. Enjoying their best life, right? Getting to know who they are and what they want, what turns them on, what they desire, what they need in relationships. Beautiful. Breaking free from bonds, familial bonds that no longer hold them. Show me what's going on. Show me. Alright, Virgo, we got 7 of Discs, fear of failure. 5 of Swords, Princess of Discs. Knight of Swords, Prince of Cups. Magician out of control. Wow. 3 of Cups, abundance and love. Coming together with like-minded individuals. And 10 of Swords, a death of the old. Tower moment is coming. Yeah, it's a big change. You know, like I said, you're breaking free from bonds that have been holding you, I believe. This is a big change. This is a tower moment, certainly. And certainly if you're kind of figuring out who you are as your sexual identity, you know what I mean? And all of that kind of heavy, that's heavy stuff, right? So sure, it's a tower moment. It's a big change. So fear of failure, 7 of Discs. Here we go. This is 7 of Discs coming to clarify. Clarifies what I was saying, you know, it's just a reaffirmation here for the 7 of Discs to come over the World card, because you're realizing, like I said, the most important thing about this reading for you during this full moon period is understanding or reevaluating what your true goals and aspirations are, separating the goals and aspirations others have had for you and the ones you truly want for yourself. 7 of Discs in the Thoth deck has a sense, it says failure, has a sense of failure inherent in it. But the reason why there's a sense of failure inherent in it is because there is a disconnect between your true desire and what you've accomplished or what you've worked for, right? And so ultimately you still fail. Even though you accomplish things, you ultimately still fail at accomplishing what you've desired. You know, you can have a win and a loss and a failure. That's how it happens. And so you see that and you realize that, and you're understanding now where you fit into your world and where your goals fit into your world. And you know, you realize there's no more room for failure. There's no more room for disappointment in your life because you've been living by the beat of another person's drum. 5 of Swords comes in. So yeah, a lot of this love connection has been hampered by a lot of miscommunication. 5 of Swords talks about backstabbing energy, gossip energy. This is some of the messiness that's been happening as a result of this warning from the octopus, right? So like I said before, well, if somebody wants to kind of get you face to face, eye to eye on your own, having a very serious conversation, there's been a lot of interference by others that has caused that not to happen. You know, it's been they've got, you know, and the 5 of Swords talks about a hollow victory as well. People who cheat, they're cheating, they're using, you know, nefarious means to get what they want. They're lying. People get disgusted with them, you know. So somebody's coming in trying to block that. That's part of that messiness, right? It's part of that. Whoever this person or whatever energy this is, I believe this is somebody you're dealing with, right? Or friends. right? Who you've allowed probably to get involved in your relationships too much. Again, you know, octopus talks about, you know, another aspect of the octopus, they talk to everybody about everything. They tell their friends all kinds of details about their relationships that they shouldn't be telling, and they allow their friends to have power over their relationships so that they can interfere with them. And then when they do, they wonder why things aren't working out. Well, sometimes you need to keep things to yourself. Don't give people so much power and information over what you're doing. Princess of Discs, yeah, Knight of Pentacles. This opportunity has been a long time coming, and it's certainly in your garden. Princess of Discs talks about taking the first step, sowing the seeds, understanding what it takes for her to build her garden, right? That speaks to her. This dream, like I said, this opportunity is part of your dream. You're the Princess of Discs here. The Knight of Pentacles is bringing you your opportunity. Take it, right? Either come in or about to come in. Knight of Swords coming in, yeah, with the Devil. Yeah. So someone you know, a friend, probably a very good friend, is probably gonna be like, look, Virgo, enough's enough. They're gonna come in, they're gonna help you kind of like not indulge too much, I think. They're gonna have that conversation with you, right? To remind you that you're on a path, that you're on a journey, and that although you can enjoy yourself right now and let your hair down, there's work to be done. This could be a very close friend of yours, someone you may have grown up with, someone who knows you very well, someone who can talk to you and be direct with you when nobody else can, someone you respect and that you have a lot of affection and caring for. Allow your friends to help you, certainly, especially if you're lucky enough to have friends like the Knight of Swords. Prince of Cups, someone wants to share their love, their cups. Somebody's trying to understand their feelings, though. This is what I'm talking about, right? The Prince of Cups, if you see, he's kind of skimming the waters of his emotions there. He's riding right on across the surface of the water. He's not diving deep just yet. He hasn't gone down into the waters like the Queen of Cups just yet. He's coming in. He's the Don Juan, right? He's the Knight of Cups. Prince of Cups is Knight of Cups. He's the one who comes in without a commitment. He comes in without a commitment because he doesn't know what he wants. It's not because he wants to hurt your feelings. He's not sure of who he is just yet. That's why his chariot or his steed, his eagle steed, skims the surface of the water and doesn't dive into it yet. He's only beginning to understand. He's only beginning to skim the surface. And this is what I'm talking about. I feel like a lot of this messiness and this interaction that you've been dealing with has been part of you trying to know who you are. Right? Get to the core of who you are. Here's your strength card. So to clarify the fact that you are working on your own, getting to know your own weaknesses and strengths, right? That's what the Leo card is all about. Mastering your kind of weaknesses and strengths, the kind of animalistic side of you, those baser emotions we have, jealousy, envy, pride, right? Mastering those and being able to control that within you so that they don't control you, right? So part of that as well, like I said, is now when you get the clarity of the Prince of Cups, who is a character who's trying to search and understand what his feelings are and what he desires, who he is, right? That goes hand in hand. And a lot of this is certainly energy when you're trying to figure out or when you're exploring who you are sexually as well. It can be very much the case. It can be especially also, as an aside, for those of you maybe who are getting into other alternative lifestyle, right? That have a psychological component to sex, BDSM, role play, things like that, right? Kinks and fetishes, right? It can also be that, going through this kind of messy period, you've been figuring that out for yourself, right? Out of control magician. So the Thoth deck has 3 magicians. This is the most out of control one. This is the one who's not really in control of his powers. He has them, but something else is controlling him. Something else is directing him, right? It can be very much the fear of being out of control. Wanting stability in your relationships. When the magic shows up, then when this magic shows up, it's a fear, it's an anxiety card. It's just that you fear losing control. And I think a lot of this, what you've been going through, has been talking about you learning about your own kind of control issues, right? I want to say like, you know, I don't want to say control freak, right? I hate to use that word freak, but it's not like you're a control freak, but those type of issues, right? Your fear of losing control, your fear of slipping, your fear of perhaps going back to being at the whim of someone else or living your, you know what I mean? Sometimes when you wake up, it can be quite you then get afraid that you're gonna go back to the person you were before, right? A lot of times when we wake up to who we are, when we realize that we no longer have to follow somebody else, right? We also fear ever going back to that. And so Four of Cups, like I said, talks about a desire of stable relationships, and also your desire to matches out of control. It's just reaffirms that there is kind of some anxiety that you have there, that you won't get the stable relationship you're looking for, right? But it will come. It will come. You will regain control, right? It may be that you never really lost control, okay? Like I say, this is more of fear, more of anxiety than a reflection of reality, okay? And don't feel guilty about this period that you've gone through, because it's been quite necessary. Like I said, when you get through it, you come out of it as the Queen of Cups, your abundance comes in. Another 3. 3's again, being together with like-minded people. 3 in Pentacles is works, right? Working together, cooperation. 3 of Cups is love, enjoying each other, friendship, having fun with the family, with the community. You know, you feel at ease, and you feel like you're now drawing the type of people towards you that you feel comfortable with. You're finding your tribe. All of this has allowed you to find your tribe, Virgo. All right. Could be that you've accepted who you are. You know, you've accepted your sexuality, or, you know, your identity, right? Your sexual identity. You've accepted. You've figured it out. You've accepted it, and now you've found your community as well. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to only do about like finding sexual identities or anything like that. I'm just reading that because of some of the connections with the cards. This can be in any, you know, this can be in any kind of like, in any arena of your life that is to do with things that your heart kind of races for, right? Finding out your true purpose, you know, finding out what it is you want to do with your life, how you want to live your life, right? What makes you happy? What kind of relationship do you want to have, right? And a lot of this, like I said, is coming out of the fact that for a very long time, you know, I believe that you were in a situation where you felt like you really had no choice, and you had to kind of like follow somebody else's lead. And so now you're just very much finding out who you are. And it's very, very beautiful. And like I say, and right now you're finding out who you are in terms of your feminine, your that side of you, your desires. And here we go. There's a death. 10 of Swords. It's the end of a long road, a long battle. And here's the Empress. Some of you could have been really going for a long time before now you feel like the woman that you want to be, right? The death of the old. It's the end. You can now go forward and live your life with this sense, with the feminine identity that you want for yourself. It's the end of the battle. The battle is over. 10s are completion. 10 of Swords talks about the end of a long battle. And the end of the person who you were. You will never be that person again. You're someone renewed. You're the Empress now. All right. I'm going to call it. This is a pretty particular reading. I think you guys know who I'm talking to out there. And I do hope it resonates with you. If you enjoy this, please like, subscribe, and share. All right. The usual. Yeah, this is really quite an interesting reading, Virgo. I can't wait to hear some feedback from you guys and see where some of this has resonated with you guys. Remember what I said. This person, this identity you're gonna come out with once you're done is beautiful. It's who you are. It's beautiful, and it's commanding. Everyone else will see how beautiful it is too. All right. For right now, I'm just going to say have a wonderful, wonderful June full moon month. All right, Virgos? Take care. Bye-bye.